Čini se da su američki hakeri hakirali današnji program i odlučili da nema prvog predavanja o umjetnoj inteligenciji, ali ovak i onak nam ta riječ AI svima ide na živce, tako da nećemo previše plakat za time. A kad smo već kod američkih hakera i Amerikanaca...
Sjećaš ti one pjesme Neću, dobar si u duši, ali neću u jugiću.
Zvoni mi nešto.
Da.
Ali nisam siguran. Dugo nisam bio na cajkama. Uglavnom, naš sljedeći panelist je... Super popularni tiktoker Justus Reid, koji je osvojio Balkan, Ameriku i ostatak svijeta duhovitim kontentom o razlikama u kulturi koje nas spajaju.
I on vozi Jugića.
Predavanje se zove Americanos, Blue Jeans and šljivovica. Kako je Americano postao Amerikanac i viralna zvijezda u regiji? Pozdravimo svi Justus Reida!
Justus.
Hi, everyone. I have no idea what they said, but I'm sure it was nice. Listen, guys, I'm really happy to be here. I'm happy to speak in front of young people. I've done a few conferences and a few speaking engagements, and it's usually the suits. So I'm usually the only one in a t-shirt and jeans at these events, so I'm happy to see so many casually but smartly dressed individuals. So today, I'm going to be talking about how to strengthen your odds of winning on social media through consistent viral hits. First things first, let's talk a little bit about me, who's talking to you. I'm Justus Reid. You were close with your pronunciation, but not correct. That's the way we say it in America, not Justus. 24-year-old social media influencer from the United States, and now I live in Europe. A lot of people want to know where in Europe. I can certainly say I live in the Balkan region, but what city, I can't say. I live in my car, if anybody has seen the videos I make. By a show of hands really quick so I know who I'm talking to, how many of you guys have seen at least one of my videos before? Hey, I've got a great crowd here. So for both of you who haven't seen my videos before, have no idea who I am, I've got more than 1.3 million followers on TikTok and Instagram. You can find me on YouTube and Facebook as well. I'm known for making funny videos about the Balkans, Balkan culture. You know, I think as a foreigner, I have a unique perspective on the region where I get to notice maybe the little absurdities that the locals become blind to. They get used to them. So a lot of people find that funny and interesting. Today, I'm going to show you how social media changed marketing, debunk some myths, and explain how to build a successful social media strategy like I have. And here comes the cold water, the truth about viral success. I hope I'm not stepping on the toes of any presenters who are coming later. Hopefully, everybody's going to give great advice, but I can tell you what, online, I've seen a lot of really bad advice when it comes to creating social media content. The number one thing I see the most is that the algorithm is to blame for your lack of success. If you're making content in any regard, videos or photos or text or whatever, if it doesn't do well, it is not your fault. It is the algorithm's fault. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not. If you have a social media manager working at your company and a video or a post performs poorly and they say something about the algorithm, it's just not true. Basically, success isn't given, it's earned through making good videos. Today, I'm going to try to tell you about how to make good videos. I can't say I'm a photographer. I can't say I'm a videographer. And I'm not a tech guy either, but if content isn't engaging, it's just not going to perform well. I know that's a fact. Views engagement. Why go viral at all? What's the point? You know? Why do we even need to go viral? Why does it matter? Well, every view, like, or comment represents a real person, you know? Instagram and TikTok aren't real places like a coffee shop that you can walk into and meet a person, but it's kind of like maybe a digital version of that. It's its own little world. Now, one thing I've seen actually quite a lot, especially recently, is there's quite a lot of cheaters out there who like to pay for engagement, but I can tell you now that that is not a good marketing strategy. Real people are what's important. You want to get real views, real likes, real comments. Those all fall into this word we call engagement. It enables a parasocial relationship. Sometimes that's a bad thing, sometimes that's a good thing. In most cases, I find that it's really useful to brands. A parasocial relationship is a one-sided relationship. Effectively, I have more than 1.3 million followers. I could never know 1.3 million people. I probably don't know 1,000 people, not really. But social media gives me the ability to multiply my reach exponentially. And every one of those viewers knows me, but I don't know them. But because they know me, then they listen to me. They take my advice and see me as sort of a friend in ways. Connection leads to high influence, especially when it comes to product recommendations. So if somebody who the viewer trusts suggests that they use your product, then they're much more likely to listen. Developing a personal brand, and that's kind of where you can't really create this type of relationship with an audience without a personal brand. And don't think that just influencers can create personal brands, because brands can too. Companies, corporations can create something more personal, more casual. This is something I always like to say. I'll watch a video and maybe, let's say you're a car dealership. If the video doesn't have any people in it and it's just cars, it's going to fail. 99% of the time, it's going to fail. Because it's called social media for a reason. It should be social. It should be personal. And so let's talk about that. This is how I did it. I committed to daily video creation, which is really important to me. Even if the videos were bad, I wanted to make videos every day so I could understand what this process was like. Using the scientific method, I create a video every single day, and at the end of the month, I can look back at the analytics, figure out what performed well and what didn't. And forget the algorithm. Forget it. It's not like, oh, the algorithm liked this. It's like, no, that video was good, and so it did well. And the other videos were not good, and so they didn't do well. I would say if you want to be successful today, I think you just need to forget the idea of the algorithm altogether, because it will always, seriously, reward the content that is good. Right away, basically my first month of making content, I got 2.7 million views on a video, and it changed my life. And essentially, I started to get obsessed with what works and what doesn't, and why did that video do so well as compared to this? And I got better and better. Eventually, I focused my gaze from the American market, where I lived, to the Balkan market, which is a totally different story that I don't have the time to get into, but it's crazy. And now I live here. Wow. All right, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty now. Now you know what's up, what I'm talking about, what I'm about. Let's get to the keys of social media success. Post often using a content calendar. Not only did I make videos for myself, but because I was successful at that, my job at the time took notice and put me in charge of all of the social media profiles. I was actually an enlisted soldier in the Army at the time. I served for 4 years. And so for the Army National Guard, which I served with, I ran all of their social media profiles. And what I did was I created a calendar, and I like to work with my hands. So I made a whiteboard. I got a big whiteboard, and I drew a calendar. And I marked out as many videos as I could possibly make with different topics. Topics are important. So the Army, for example, would be vehicles, weapons, personnel, jobs, and that's what I would mark on my calendar. So Monday is personnel, Wednesday is jobs, Friday is guns, Saturday is, and that's how I'd mark it out. Starting with a topic is really important. Your content calendar shouldn't say, oh, video this day, too vague. Get more specific. This video, what's your company? Let's say you're a bank. If you're a bank, then it would be accounts, employees, customers, locations, benefits, right? Something like that. And that's what you would put on your calendar, and you would start there. Every video must include a face. It's called social media for a reason. That face must talk. I don't like voiceover. Sometimes it works, but I think a lot of times People use voiceover instead of showing their face actually talking. I think it usually comes from insecurity. I think that an audience can see that insecurity. We want to see that you're confident, that you believe in this product, and that you're willing to put yourself behind it. Text. I don't remember the exact number, but TikTok had done a study where they had found where actually a majority of viewers watch their videos on low volume because they usually do it in public places. So not with the volume off, but low. So text is really helpful. I would recommend adding captions to every video. A fast pace. Okay, fast pace, that is, you have to keep the audience's attention, right? You have to keep them watching, so keep the pace up. Clear story structure. Story structure, even though it's last on my list here, is the king. It's the number one. If you remove everything else, story structure is the one that's most important, and that is a hill I will die on. Core elements, humor, drama, or education. Those are the 3 topics that you can choose to present your topic. So let's go back to the bank. Let's say employees, right? We have friendly employees at this bank, and that's what we want to show. So we can choose to show that in an educational way, in a dramatic way, or in a humorous way. Once you scientifically sort of place things out and make decisions in advance on what kind of a piece of content you're going to make, it's going to lead to more success. A lot of people wait for inspiration to strike, but it's not going to strike, at least not often enough to be successful. You need to put yourself in a position where you're seeking inspiration and you can grab hold of it. It's not going to strike you. You got to take it. And this is the way you do it. You build a content calendar. You say, okay, today we're making a video about employees, and we know that it needs to have these quality essentials, and we would like it to be an educational video. Great. All right, we're off to a great start. Types of content, posting frequency. This is the other thing I want to talk about. How many videos should you make? I made videos every day, but realistically, you should just make as many as you can without making bad ones that you know are bad. And you'll know they're bad if you don't follow the rules, if you don't plan ahead. It's really that simple. You can make types of content with just text, like a tweet on Twitter, or photos, videos. Videos are always best. Always. I'll die on that hill too. Videos are the most engaging by far, and that's what I focus on. If I could be as successful as I am today by just making a blog, then I would much rather do that. Video creation is the most difficult, but it's also the most rewarding. Interactive versus passive videos. An interactive video is one where we look right into the camera lens and we speak to the audience. This is another thing you would put on your calendar. Interactive or passive. An interactive video is something where I say, did you know that at this company we can, and I would explain it, as opposed to a passive video is fictional. So I would have 2 characters, and instead of speaking directly to the audience, I would speak to the other character. I would say, did you know, instead of speaking to the camera. This is really important. I would say interactive videos are best when the product you're talking about is very interesting, inherently. A passive video is something you would use when the topic you're talking about is not so interesting. So take, for example, when I was in the Army, if I was going to make a decision about whether a video would be interactive or passive, if a video was about a tank, then it would be interactive, for sure. I would just talk right to the audience, and you know how I'd start that video? I'd say, this is a tank. And that's it. That's all you need. As opposed to a passive video, I remember I made a video about a gasoline generator. Well, that would be a passive video. It would be, I kick in the door of the boss's office. I say, the generator's down. And he goes, oh my God, we've got to fix that, So if you have something that is uninteresting, you can make it interesting by making a passive video. If you have something that is inherently interesting, you can just share it with an interactive video. All right, tips for effective content creation. Know your audience. you'll find that there are a lot of layers to this. I hope I'm not going too fast. I hope I'm getting through to you. There's at least something you can grab from this. But there are layers. You got to know your audience, how old they are, what they're interested in, where they live. Deliver a clear message and bring energy to your videos. Your energy is infectious. It's something where if you're excited, they're going to be excited. If you're sad, they're going to be sad. And if you're unconfident, they're going to be maybe embarrassed for you. So ultimately, the message should be clear. You should bring the energy. Be genuine, show authenticity and vulnerability. This comes back to social elements. Most people who are making social media videos for brands are former or current videographers and photographers. And I would recommend going with somebody who is a storyteller rather than somebody who's a videographer or a photographer, because videographers and photographers make videos look too good. For social media, I want to feel that warmth. I want to see those mistakes. I want to see those things that are genuine and real, and that sort of confidence. And that's something I would do all the time with the brands I've worked with and previous experience. Refine your content to reach high standards. Look at those analytics, but don't obsess over every video. One video's analytics is nothing on its own. It only matters in comparison to the other videos that you create. The Reid method, it's simple. Create a calendar, pick a topic, put that on the calendar. Decide whether it's going to be interactive or passive, depending on how interesting you think the topic is. And then write a script which has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So it reminds me of when I would write essays in high school. The rule was for an essay is you tell them what you're going to tell them, and then you tell them, and then you tell them what you told them. If I was making a video for this conference, it probably would be something like, I'm going to tell you about BrandNew conference. And then in the middle, I would do that. I would commit to my promise, and I would tell you about BrandNew conference. And then at the end, I would say, and now you know about BrandNew conference. 1, 2, 3. This works for passive and interactive videos. So calendar, topic, interactive or passive, 3-part structure. Beginning, middle, and end. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason. If you're just winging it, I just don't think you're going to have consistent success. If you make 100 videos without a plan, I think that you're going to find that one of them goes viral. Just like if you play the slots for long enough, you're going to hit the jackpot eventually. But if you want to go viral on every video or every other video, there needs to be a plan. So I think many of you in this room have had a video that you would consider viral or successful before. But really, a lot of that just comes down to luck. So you can remove the luck with planning. This is me in the National Guard. That's me. This has a laser. Pretty cool. Manage social media for them. Increased followers from 3,000 to 850,000 over the course of about a year and a half. I created more than 280 videos in 2 years, focusing on engaging and informative content, drama, humor, education. And that's how I nailed it. And I did really well with them, and I took my knowledge when I moved here, and now I use that knowledge for myself and for my clients. I took a big risk. I moved to the Balkans, and now that I'm here, I've been more successful than I've ever been. Even though I'm in a foreign land, I'm a stranger, but this kind of content, this kind of strategy gives me amazing opportunities like being able to speak in front of you guys. These kind of risks turn me into who I am. So I would say don't be afraid to take risks either. Sometimes it can be scary, but oftentimes it's worth it. I've worked with more than 100 businesses now of all sorts of levels, and it's been amazing. It's been the most rewarding thing I've ever done. This is hard. What I do is really hard. It's not easy. If everything I just said now, if it makes sense to you and you say to yourself, that makes perfect sense, but I don't think I can pull it off, I need some help, then you can give me a call or send me an email. If you listen to this and you say, this all just went completely over my head, I have no idea what he's talking about, but it sounds interesting, then you can work with me there too. The other benefit to working with someone like me is I've been doing this a long time. And so I've built up quite a large audience, and you or your business or your project can benefit from that. This is my email, contact@justusreid.com. Send me an email anytime. My manager gets all of those, and most everybody gets a reply. And so, I'm really happy to be with you guys today. I'm really looking forward to hearing the next speakers. And if you guys have any questions, maybe you can catch me after the talk, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. Thanks a lot.